All right, welcome to the kitchen. So, first, before we get started, of course, you want to clean your house, okay? Or at least clean your house as best you can. What you don't want to do is smudge a dirty laundry hamper or, place fresh sea salt to cleanse a full dumpster or bin, all right? So you want to make sure that everything is cleaned out or at least organized there. If you cannot, at least try and concentrate, the clutter, things like that, into one spot. It's not a permanent fix. It's not going to make everything okay, but it will allow you to at least kind of seal up the energy around the rest of your house. For what I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to give you several different options, several different things you can do to actually work this out for yourself. So, if one thing doesn't happen because, like, we can't burn sage, or we don't have this, we don't have that, we got a million different ways we can take care of this. So we're going to approach this in a multi-medium sort of light. First off, I do think that this is going to be the easiest thing. I think everyone should get it. It's not hard to get. Any kind sea salt, preferably sea salt. Kosher rock salt is fine as well. If you have to do with regular salt in a pinch, it's better than nothing. So we're going to be working with that. We have some elective buffers, I guess you could say, energetically. I have an atomizer of Florida water at this point, but if you actually have your own essential oils, you don't have a way to get Florida water, you don't know where to get Florida water, you can also do an atomizer, just like 2 drops each of bergamot, jasmine, and peppermint, as well as maybe like a base note, maybe some, like a clove or something like that. Just a little bit, because we're just going to be using this as a little bit of a cleansing spray for our curtains and our furniture. We don't want to be too strong because we don't want it to be harmful to any of our pets or children. And very important to note that a lot of folks who do know how to use herbal medicine or essential oils in this kind of operation, make sure that you avoid things like cedar or fir needle or any kind of balsam fir when you're actually working on applying oils or any kind of atomizer sprays to your upholstery or your carpets, because those are actually toxic to kitties and puppies. So it's okay to burn them. It's okay to burn them if it's well ventilated. It's not going to hurt your animals. Just don't spray the oil directly onto, your upholstery and things like that. I mean, just to be on the safe side, like again with this one, I mean, it's only a couple drops. You shake it up and you can spray it wherever you want. So that's one option for cleansing the space, especially aromatically. I've also got my sage here. This is a big old bunch of sage. You can get white sage anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's white sage or not. Just please have it be sage. Again, a good substitute for burning sage if you don't have that on hand. Cedar, or even, if you wanted to actually grab um, just a burner, an incense burner itself, burn frankincense, or perhaps even just burn rosemary leaves, fine too. Also got incense here. Patchouli incense is great for sealing up open doors. We'll talk about that in a little bit. As well as if you can't get patchouli, go ahead and stick with the basics. Doesn't have to be too extravagant. Doesn't have to be too inaccessible. We can again get away with frankincense, sandalwood. Of course, it's always better to burn the pine or the conifer scent as opposed to, risk our animals. So if you want to burn the cedar incense, that's great. Burn the pine, burn the evergreen, burn the fir. That's okay. For another operation I was going to do is actually going to be anointing, and so I've got, of course, the Scarlet Moon Blessing Oil here that I sell at my store. If you have a blessing oil that you make yourself, that is fine too. Just hope, just focus on making that the intention of that, to cleanse, purify, and protect. Got a black kaboom candle here, which I'll have lit. You also know I sell that as well, which is basically going to help kind of cleanse the negativity. One thing to note when you do kind of purify a house, you don't want to actually have like that incense burning, that cleansing incense burning, or your cleansing candle, something like that, because you are going to be stirring up some gunk. And if you want to work with crystals, placing crystals around your home, things like that to raise the vibrations, I highly advocate using more protective stones. If you're looking for privacy, black jasper is great. If you're looking to just kind of cleanse the negativity, I would recommend black tourmaline like I have here. You can use clear quartz to raise the vibrations. That's great, but make sure that you also are going to, proceed with one of the sealing methods I'm going to show you. So you don't necessarily have to worry about, that negative energy bumping up. We're also going to be talking about making offerings to guardian spirits, spirits of the land, the elemental kingdoms, things like that. Really kind of doing like a, try and stack your blessings on your home. That's actually very important. Stack your efforts. Don't just do one thing and call it a day. I've always noticed when it comes to working with magic, energy alchemy, energy work, stacking your methods really does make sure that it's foolproof. Some people, we can just work with it. It doesn't quite call for a prayer, but when you have a lot of energy, a lot of people, or a lot of different, circumstances pulling you this way and that, your energy is getting scattered all over the place. So if you are finding yourself dealing with, again, a lot professionally, a lot with your family, a lot socially, or, just having your general bad luck streak, your bad energy streak, or if you feel like you have something in your home you don't want to be there, or bad energy cast upon you from wherever you've been, please do this. And I would recommend doing this at least once or twice a month. Um, it might seem long in the video here, but it almost, with practice, it takes maybe about 10 minutes a day. You can do this with your incense, or you can just do it with the sage like I am. You can do it with the cedar smudge. So it doesn't really matter. Like I said, don't worry about doing it exactly the way I am doing it. But the important thing is that you do. All right. So when we're burning sage to cleanse, it's really important, of course, to make sure that you get into every crevice and every corner of your house. That's a no-brainer. I have found that when it comes to actually working with this, actually moving around the house in a counterclockwise motion from the starting point. So I'm going to make a mental note. I started this corner of my dining room. Cleansing the rest of my house, I'm going to go counterclockwise. Counterclockwise, or, as pagans would call it, widdershins, is typically, I guess what you would say, a vanishing of denser energies or a vanishing motion. Now, interestingly enough, this is also what you do to open up doorways to higher dimensions, higher planes, higher spiritual energies. Because if you were also, again, in, say, pagan tradition, to open a circle for deep trance work, to call in a spirit, to work with divination, you would work counterclockwise. But, interestingly enough, you do the same thing to cleanse your home, so we're going to do it that way. When you go around portals like this, and this does count as a portal in the home, anything that is actually going to be, I guess you could say, a very fixed, like a fixed hole in the wall. So that's windows, that's doors, that's doorways, going in and out through the house, and going through hallways, room to room. You want to actually make sure that you dedicate time to that. Notice how I'm actually doing the sliding glass door in two motions. The reason for that being is that this actually counts as two portals. And the reason we want to seal our portals this way is because what it's actually doing is the counterclockwise motion and the energy from the sage and the energy combined with the intention that I'm actually pushing this through is actually creating a bit of a resistance against any energies that are being pushed in on the home. Mental note for a lot of people out there, if somebody can visualize being in your home, then they can project their energy into your home unless it's correctly sealed. So again, those who are having issues with family, or those of you who do work online, people can see into your home, then you are going to be apt to having people being able to project their energy into your space unless you seal it up. So it's actually important to do that. This is also a good way to seal your home from any kind of entities or spiritual influences that you do not invite in. Okay? You don't want to have them just sort of traipsing about you in your space. Makes perfect sense. Now remember, mirrors count as portals. In fact, so do computers, televisions, as well as your phone. Reflective surfaces, such as in paintings, also count as portals, so it's important not to neglect these. Quick feng shui tip for all of you folks out there. Mirrors should only be placed in very specific places in the home. I would definitely keep my mirrors out of the bedroom. It is a pretty well-known belief that a mirror facing the bed actually does invite more people into your relationship if you're coupled, and will actually decrease your chances of finding a romantic partner if you are single. Why? Because a mirror facing the bed creates another person in the bed. If you're single, you might as well be coupled. And if you're together, well, you might have more people involved than you would like to see there. And what about spaces that you can't get to? All right, so downstairs I have a roommate who's, that's his space, and he is aware of his vibration, and he doesn't like his vibration messed with. And you know what? We have to respect that, so I'm going to. So what I actually do is I do make sure not to disrespect how he chooses to bless and hold his vibrations. And it doesn't really come into issue with me. We have our different floors of the house. Michael and I have upstairs, and then we have straight Mike downstairs. So, he can have it however he wants. So what I do is I usually stop and make an official, again, kind of a ceiling, not necessarily sealing him out, but just sort of like drawing that line, right in the middle of the top, the middle of the stairs. It's like, okay, that's where his space ends and ours begins. Final thought on smudging with sage or with, of course, again, you can substitute incense. Incense is easy to find. I don't care if you're getting Nag Champa from a gas station, it's better than nothing. But make sure that you at least leave one window open. In fact, I try to make it a regular practice that when I am smudging, I'll leave the windows open in one room of the house. And that way, all that kind of dense chi energy kind of has a place to go. But I don't let any of the other windows open up. That's pretty standard practice for a lot of folks. After the initial smudging, it's really important. I like to go and actually spread sea salt in the corners of each room of my home. Kind of hold that vibration, again, kind of maintain that integrity there. Remember, this energy is organic. Magic is organic, or if you want to call it something else, that is really just the same thing. It's organic, okay? So it will break down over time. That's just how the universe works. We have to keep it refreshed. And so, a little bit of sea salt here, and then again, remember working counterclockwise. I do sometimes put pinch sea salt in front of the windows just to make sure that, again, they kind of hold where they are. So we're going to do that now. All right, now we're going to talk about spraying or asperging. Well, actually, asperging is when you take, your salt water mixture, if you choose to make one, and do the sprinkle thing with the holy water, which is great if you want to do that. There's no reason you can't. Remember, this is multimedia. No one size fits all. Play with it. But if you're interested in doing the spray bottle thing, of course, towards the early part of the video, I already discussed what you could do with making your own recipe of essential oils. If you can't do that, you can also make a tea of fresh orange peels and use that in an atomizer or to asperge as well. That is actually a traditional recipe used when you are blessing a house in feng shui. I am actually using Florida water, which I just took out of a typical Murray and Lampman water bottle, and I'm going to just spray my space, or at least my upholstery here. Of course, I'm making sure that my kitties don't get up in on this. Now, the reason it's important to actually get bedding, couches, chairs, and things like that, again, we have to remember that our physical space is still available energy. And these things can hold negativity. So say you have your friend come over and, they went through some, they came over, they were in a really bad mood, and where they were wailing and bitching and moaning and all that kind of stuff on your couch or on your chair, whatever, and that energy kind of stays in that space. They just kind of came over and blew it up all over the house. I mean, and people do that to each other all the time. So we gotta, we can't judge for that. I mean, we can, but it's a waste of time. So don't even worry about it. Just cleanse it. That's all you have to do. I love Florida water. I think it's one of the cleaner smells out there. And it evaporates pretty quickly, so you don't have something too strong if you don't like that. But again, I already got a couple of recipes here. If you want to just do a mixture of sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, maybe a teaspoon of that diluted into about 50 milliliters of water here, and just spray that around your home, that'll work as well if you prefer something safe and unscented. Now let's talk about sealing and anointing. This can be an alternative to smudging if you absolutely cannot have smoke burning. If you or someone in your home is asthmatic or sensitive to the smoke or has allergies, or it irritate them if they have a cold, something like that. Of course, we can't just press the no, you need smoke issue. What you can do is you could always burn maybe like a sage essential oil or something like that on an oil burner if that is better. If that is not okay, then again, go with the salt. And maybe even the atomizer spray that is unscented, and then move on to this step, which is of course the anointing part. So yes, I've got my Scarlet Moon blessing oil here, as you can see, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to anoint again counterclockwise, to sort of seal and bless the home against anything that would be considered of a denser or lower vibration. So I usually just anoint it and either silently or out loud affirm, I seal and cleanse this home with love. I dispel, reject, and neutralize all thoughts, energies, or frequencies that would manifest harm, negativity, strife, or misfortune for anyone in this home, in body or spirit. May only those spirits who come to us in love, friendship, family, and guidance exist and permeate this barrier, so mote it be. So after we get the anointing done, the smudging, the asperging, you think we're pretty much good to go. Well, we've got one more thing to do with the salt, and that is take it outside. So when we take the salt and we're actually cleansing the outside, again, what we're doing is we're putting a barrier around the edge of our property. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do this in several layers. First, I'm going to do the balcony, and then I'm going to do the bottom of the steps of the balcony, and then I'm going to do the edge of the property. Now, this part is probably strictly voluntary, but works for me, so I thought I'd share it with you. I do like to stay on good terms with the spirits of the land in my space, the elementals, and also to make offerings to my loved ones who come and visit when they do. And so, we've got a few examples of offerings here. Again, a lot of this can be considered pretty commonplace, but just for the sake of sharing, what you can do when it comes to making offerings to, especially spirits who would prefer to remain outdoors. I like to actually kind of bring them a little bit of an offering, just, in peace and blessings, because they will guard your home, and they will help you raise the vibrations of your home, protect you from other kinds of entities and spirits and things like that, help break up bad energies as they come in, help, kind of fend off any, cords as they sort of, and just kind of really get that together for you. You could always do oats. We've got old-fashioned, organic oats here. I'm also going to throw in a pinch of loose-leaf tobacco. A cigarette will do in a pinch, but better safe than sorry with organic. They like wine, so you can always do wine if you'd like. And then you could also offer herbs. Caraway and anise are actually two favorites, especially of earth spirits who tend to reside near dwellings. And funny enough, you could always kind of do all of them at once with. I'm using actually aquavit here because it's the caraway and star anise spirit. I don't really like it myself, but we keep it around for offerings. That would actually be the best. You can always sprinkle the tobacco or sprinkle the herbs or sprinkle the oats in your backyard. That's fine. Or you can leave them in a dish. The only thing I recommend here is not to just dump the liquid offering if you choose to make one on the ground. So don't just pour a bunch of wine on the ground or a bunch of liquor on the ground and call it a day. So we're actually going to take this out here, and I'm going to drop this off. This is actually fairly important, especially if you are conscious of sharing your space with the spirits. You just cleansed your space and you sealed it, so it's important to invite the right kind of spirit to help you in your space and stay with you in your space and share that space with you. All right. So, for me, I just make a standard offering. It doesn't have to be anything fancy smanchy. Make this offering to the spirits of this place, those who dwell in this space, in love, peace, harmony, and friendship. In exchange for this offering, please help to bring us prosperity, good health, blessings, love, and protection. Protect us against all manner of harm and misfortune. And please accept this offering with our love and with our alliance. That make sure that you actually spend some time out here. Don't just dump it out like you're leaving out food for the dog, because you need to, be sharing in that space. You're inviting them back in. And if you prefer to scatter them about rather than leave them, you know what? I've some, that can be better too. So you throw out a pinch of tobacco and a pinch of oats or whatever you choose to leave behind. That's fine. Again, as long as you aren't dumping the liquid offering, the imbibement offering on the ground, you're fine. You're good to go. You can also make these kinds of offerings to your loved ones. Again, if you have an ancestor altar or a deceased loved one altar, anything like that, you can also do that. You have more room to play, offering them their favorite foods, of course. You could offer them tea, things like that. Again, don't forget to sort of re-invite them back into your space. All right. The nice thing about this is you don't have to worry about these high vibrations harming entities of high vibrations. This is really here to keep the energies of the low or those lower base human emotions from turning into something toxic. And so you're actually doing an okay thing for yourself and your spirit buddies. Now let's talk about finishing it up and actually replenishing the energy in the home and maintaining the high vibration. As you can see, there's 100 billion ways you can actually do this. So again, I'm always going to offer you techniques that you can play with. Okay, and I really do suggest that you do something to kind of finish it up and kind of hold the vibration where it is. So I'm just going to take you through here left to right and tell you what you can do here. If you choose to work with deities and higher powers, you can always, again, maybe anoint a candle of some kind. Pink, green, and white are best for holding the vibration in a blessed home. If you are looking to do something for ongoing protection, or if you feel like you still need that extra negativity cleansing buff, I recommend black or red. Those are all right as well. And you would actually, again, anoint with an oil of your choice, something for cleansing, blessing, or protection, and then you would just bada bing, bada boom, offer your prayers to the deity, light the candle in the deity's honor, and, let that do its work. But remember, we're doing everything with purpose and intent here, so you can't just kind of go through the motions. You really do need to, focus, bring all that energy, bring that into the prayer, bring that into the invocation or into the offering, and make that happen. If you choose not to do that, or if you feel that is not just in your personal style, by the way, you don't need statues to work with deities, of course not. But if you feel that is not your personal style, you can also set up a crystal grid, preferably on a reflective surface. I've got a reflective tray here, or you can do it on a mirror. That's fine. In this one, I have 3 rose quartz and 3 amethysts, as well as a selenite candle holder in the middle. So what I would do is I would go through and I would make sure to actually program, again, programming crystals, programming herbs, not too hard. You take it in your dominant hand, your projective hand, and you basically let your energy become one with the stone and tell it just a simple thing. What do you ask for? With amethyst, protection, harmony, grace, and peace. Very easy. Rose quartz, love, healing, blessings, and protection. This amethyst, I'm going to focus especially on happiness, health, healing, and well-being. This rose quartz, I'm going to bring a sense of harmony, friendship, love, and peace. This amethyst dispels harmful and negative thoughts and energies. This rose quartz, again, reaffirms love, harmony, protection, and peace in the home. And then, of course, my center one, the selenite, raise the vibrations, cleanse and dispel and neutralize any thoughts or energies that would be harmful or manifest misfortune. And I would basically work my energy again, blend these energies together, and in this case I would light a candle to activate the stone in the center, or you could use perhaps a quartz tower or a tower crystal of any kind that you want to sort of just emit that energy. You can use orbs as well, so spheres, crystal balls, things like that as the centerpiece of your grid. That works just as well. If you choose not to do it that way, here I have my black tourmaline we were talking about before. I would actually create a grid of probably 3 black tourmalines. I've only got 2 out here. Or you could do black jasper, obsidian, onyx, any kind of protective stone like that. Failing that, clear quartz is always the perfect substitute for any kind of stone. And I would actually grid that up with my black boom candle, light the candle, and let that continue to cleanse and dispel negative thoughts and energies. If you choose to actually set more around your home, in terms of amulets, talismans, things like that, to actually be like a blessing charm, a protection mechanism, you could actually use maybe a small wooden box like this. This is pretty ornate. We've even got a pentacle on it as well, but if you choose not to use that, that's fine. Or even a bottle or a sachet. Fill it with herbs to actually bring, again, that sense of maintenance and protection. This one has flaxseed and cayenne pepper, essentially calling in and grounding that denser energy, and then the cayenne pepper will dispel and disperse. I think it's actually chili flakes. Dispel and disperse, that energy so that it's not going to actually become anything. Remember, we're catching these vibrations before they manifest strife or negativity. If you choose to use a sachet that just sort of maintains the peace, you can use lavender, you can use catnip, you can use chamomile, you can use rose. I still recommend putting a little element of protection in there, even if you only want to do it in a gentle fashion. Use rosemary. Excellent. Lemon peel, dried lemon peel, excellent as well. Clove buds, great. Cinnamon, awesome. You have a lot of room to play. You can basically do this whole operation with things that you find in your kitchen. There is really nothing standing in your way to do this. I wholeheartedly recommend that everyone run out and try this, and maybe make it a part of a bi-weekly regimen for yourself to maintain the energy in your space, because you don't want these things to sort of become a real problem. And so thank you for joining me on this, and just kind of seeing how I do things. Again, feel free to play with it. There is no dogma here, and there should never be. I'll talk to you later.